Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
You know, that Jonas is someone I was going to bring up right now anyway, because we were talking about the seminar circuit and we were talking about getting the client comfortable.
Do you know Jonas? Do you know Jonas?
Yeah. Like we haven't met, but we talk on line.
Right.
He's cool.
He's awesome. So
I like Jonas.
His what he was telling us about, and we were on this topic, how to get the client comfortable, and we were kind of approaching it from the angle of like, hey, listen, newer dog trainers, don't walk into the client's home to do a lesson, because I get it's weird. You're in someone else's house. If you're not that experienced in dog training, you're kind of like a one or two trick pony, and there's a certain insecurity associated with that. Like, I really hope this goes well type thing.
Yeah.
But then you walk in there and you're just kind of like a textbook reciting words at them, and it doesn't sound real almost, right? It's just a lot of jargon, but it's what they know at the time, and that's it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So Jonas was explaining to us, and we had a really good laugh about, he was like, dude, I fucking roll up on my Harley and like, cut off like a sleeveless shirt and stuff like that, and the thing is, it's just me. It's me, like, I'm being myself, but at the same time, it's
they
kind
feel
of
my passion. They feel my
right.
energy.
Well, they feel my passion, my energy, but at the same time, it's a tactical approach for me to show them that this is not some stuffy formal. You guys can be you guys can just be you. So I'm kind of clearing the air without saying anything.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I don't. I used to do the in-home thing a lot. I did the free demo thing. I've done all of that stuff, and I get a little more leeway now on just being, listen, a couple of weeks ago, a high profile client was coming to pick up her dog, and my wife made me go inside and change my clothes.
What are wives for? That's what
she literally said I looked like a combination of an Eastern Kentucky mountain man and NWA.
NWA, what were you wearing?
He probably had like a bandana on. Or
I had on a beanie with dark sunglasses and a camo jacket, and my beard was big. And I said, no, I'm not going to. This is, I know them. So I'm like a Sally Mander. I kind of blend it all.
I was gonna say.
I'm a big country music guy, but I'm a big rap guy too.
You love that.
And so I don't stay in. I embrace everything. I love everything. Where's your background? Your ancestors from, Brent?
Oh, me? My family's from half Mexican, half Peruvian.
I knew it.
How'd you know?
Peruvian. Because my wife's Peruvian.
No shit.
Yeah. So I said I wanted to say this freaking guy looks Peruvian, but
if you're
if you're just all Mexican, you're gonna be like, "Fuck you! I look Peruvian." No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, that's so awesome. Yeah, that's
I knew it.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
I knew it. I could spot you a mile away.
Yeah. So your wife cooks. I'm sure she has.
No, she cooks nothing.
No,
I cook. I cook. She fixes things. I cook.
Well, I'm sure there's a Peruvian grandma rolling in her grave right now.
Well, you guys have good. You're in LA.
I'm in LA. Yeah, we got Mario's out here. We got in Hollywood. We have a lot of good cuisine.
We miss Peruvian food, big.
I'm sure you don't get a lot of that in Kentucky. So
no, we were in Miami 2 years ago, and we were in heaven. Food, and one of our favorite restaurants in the world is in DC. I took her to a Mark Anthony concert last year, and
amazing.
We had some good Peruvian food, but it's been a while.
Have you been to Peru?
I've been a couple of times because of work. We've never gone together. I love Peru. Absolutely.
Do you know? So we have 2 dog training sisters in South America that we interviewed a while back, and they love you. They love you. Vanessa and Melissa Velez.
Yeah.
One trains in Peru, and they kind of, nice. they do e-collar, and it's still kind of weird out there in South America. But if you give them a shout out, I'm sure they would love it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Melissa and Vanessa Velez. Yeah.
Yes, I need to come visit. We need a Peruvian trip.
Yes, we'll hit them up.
My kids are dying to go too. We'd like to get down there. Listen, I was fortunate enough to spend some time on the Mexican border, and I love the Mexican culture. I absolutely love it. Last year, right before the COVID thing, I was down in Las Cruces, New Mexico for 45 days. I was in heaven. I was in absolute for 45 days. I was Mexican again. It was absolutely fantastic.
You got a tan and everything.
I ate like a king, and just to be back down in the Southwest is pretty damn awesome.
How's your Spanish, Larry? Pretty good.
My Spanish used to be very good, and once I came to Kentucky,
you don't use it, you lose it, kind of thing, right?
No. But when I was down on the border, I listened only to Spanish music. I watched Spanish soap operas. I had to learn it because what you learn in the academy, you think you know it. Mm-hmm. I did good with the books and the grades, and it was tough. 4 or 5 hours of college level Spanish a day for 6 months. You think you're hot shit.
Yeah, you can talk to a Spaniard, but not a Mexican.
I was going to say, until you talk to me.
You get down on the border. I did my first interview. I asked the first question, and I was like, holy shit, what did he say?
I was going to say, because like native Spanish speakers, because I'm Hispanic. I'm strictly like Mexican in my lineage, and my parents are from Mexico. They were brought here as kids. Yeah. So, I still bounce back and forth a ton, and I actually spent a decent amount of time there growing up. I would go there in the summers because my dad lived there when I was off track for school. And so I notice now, and I laugh about it so hard because my girlfriend is like an Irish redhead who knows zero Spanish. And so whenever I speak Spanish, she understands because I can speak Spanish with an American like dialect in it.
Right.
Fluctuation of my voice and stuff like that. When my tío Juan speaks Spanish, it is lightning fast. And it's just, what is that? And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, he told you to go take out the garbage. And she's like, oh, okay. And I just think it's the funniest thing in the world. But I know exactly what you're saying.
And here's the thing. This is what I tell everyone. I used to love being with my wife's family, the whole Peruvian side of things. Just there, just a good time. I grew up in a very Italian household in Jersey. There's very little difference between the Italian culture and the Mexican culture. It's the same.
Yep.
It's the freaking same.
It's like all pasta, based tortillas.
on family and loud people and food.
I was gonna say big ass family
and opinions. And I call it, I was introduced to this term called mom-splaining, where like moms tell you how to live your life all your life.
Listen, my wife is very quiet and mild-mannered, right? Okay. And when we started dating, the first time she had dinner at my house, my extended family was over too. She was just so quiet like a mouse, so uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden she exploded in laughter and was like crying. And she was so scared and embarrassed and upset that she was laughing, but she couldn't stop. And we're all looking at her and going, what's so funny? And she couldn't even talk. Till finally she explained why she was laughing. It was so loud, and her family's very proper and quiet. Okay. And it was so loud at my table and everyone's yelling. And I guess eventually what set her over the top is someone screamed, pass the fucking meatballs. She just lost it. I was like, yeah, I guess that's kind of normal in my house,
So it's exactly what like a Hollywood writer would put in a script.
Yeah. It's funny how the opposites attract like that, because my girlfriend loves my grandma, and my grandma keeps it real, please believe. So like it is the funniest thing how every time I'll talk to my grandma on the phone or something, or my mom or somebody like that, my girlfriend would be like, oh my God, I miss your grandma so much. She is just like, she's such a thug and she's so funny. And I'm like, yeah, it is funny how people like really enjoy the different thing.
Grandmothers are the best.
Yeah.
The best, for sure.
They bridge all these generations together.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's really, really beautiful.
Yep. Can I bring us back? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. No, this is
it's a podcast. That's what we do.
Yeah, right. So I want to talk then about bridging those gaps.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back.
Yes. No, but here's, and this is a really real thing, because now to bring it back to dog training, I have a client currently. I just did a first lesson with a client who her daughter, who was older, the daughter called me to set it all up from Chicago, because her mom, who lives here in Phoenix, is old enough to be like in an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
She's older, and she got herself a toy poodle puppy. And she also has COPD, like chronic, pulmonary issues. And so what I noticed, I went to her place and, we met and did our first lesson. And I was like, man, just seeing the interior, I was like, it's amazing how the world was so different. But to bring it back to dog training, it's crazy how like the dog training world is young. Even 20, 30 years ago, it was the landscape was nothing like it is today. And what I want to ask you then, as somebody who's seen it all, Do you find that in today's dog training world, Tyler Muto told us it's insane how newer trainers can just learn so fast because of like YouTube and everything else. Like what it took them 6 years to learn, someone picks up in like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Is there a downside to that, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not one of those people that think it's a bad thing that younger trainers have the ability to learn on social media. I think it's good for them.
Right.
You know, when I work with younger trainers, my goal is to save them the years of mistakes that I made. That's my goal, right?
Right.
The problem is they have to be going in the right direction on who they're learning from.
Yeah.
You know, and everything looks shiny and unicorny and you know, freaking fairy farts online. And let's face it, there's a lot of fraud out there, and anyone can look good online.
Right.
And I think it's sad to say, but there's a lot more bad dog training out there than good dog training. There just is. You know, as much as I love,
I think also a lot of dog training is going unguided too.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And look, the e-collar has been good to me, right? That's what a lot of people know me from. My book has been insanely successful. The whole purpose of the book was that a sixth grader could read that book, and if they were going to use an e-collar on their dog, not destroy their dog.
Right.
That was the purpose. I've done pretty well there. But the truth is, it's caused a lot of damage in the wrong hands, because if you're a good dog trainer, the e-collar can do wonderful things for you.
Yeah.
If you're a bad dog trainer, it's going to destroy you, and the dog's going to pay the price.
Yeah.
And that's happening over and over and over again. But you know what? The scary part is it's not just dog trainers. The general public that doesn't deal with the dog trainer, they have a problem. And
Right.
I get those messages every day. I'm having this issue. What kind of e-collar should I get? It's like, holy shit, this is scary.
Right.
You know, that's not going to turn out well.
Right.
You know, so I just wish newer trainers that start studying under someone just really do a lot of homework and research, and just get with the right people. You know, just get with the right people. If it wasn't for people like Pat Nolan and Mark Goldberg, who have been doing e-collar stuff longer than me and put stuff out, and Bart Ballone is the godfather of modern dog training, and you know, put so much into the world of e-collars, then I don't have the ability to do that and have the success I've had with it. I've had that success because of the giants that came before me, you know, and there were giants that came before me that were absolutely horrendous with dogs that I learned even more from, because I knew exactly who I didn't want to be.
Right.
And that didn't take me long to realize that. Thank God.
Yeah.
You know, thank God for that. But you have to seek out people with, you know, a really good history and a good past, and that know what they're doing. And if they could do that, because of today's social media, Jesus Christmas, there's so much stuff online that you can do now, and you could really learn a lot. But no matter what you do online, there's no substitute from putting your hands on dogs, and you have to put your hands on a lot of dogs.
That's exactly, almost word for word, what Michael Ellis said.
Yeah, you have to. You just there is no substitute, because it's like me with the Spanish. It was great with the books, right? But the second I put it into the real world, I was like, holy fuck, you know, this is a whole different world. And there you had to learn. You had to learn it, because if you're out in the middle of the desert with 100 people on the ground and they're talking about slitting your throat, you have to understand them.
Yeah. You're like, come on, one more time. Come again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really important. And that's what forced me to really learn the language. And it's the same thing with the dogs. If you're dealing with a dog that has the capability of really hurting you, then you really better know what the hell you're doing. You know, it's the same concept in anything you do in life. You know, you have to know it, and know it well, and you have to know it for real.
And you have to be able to apply it. Can I ask you, so then with that being said, how do you feel about, it seems that old-timey dog training was very individual and very like guarded, and everybody kind of had their secrets and wouldn't share. But newer dog training, it seems like dog training as a profession is finally catching on, with other things, and that the way to get good is you sharpen your tools, and the way to sharpen your tools is you test your metal against other people with sharp tools. And we look at things like I think actually that in dog training started in the sport dog world, because there are clubs, not to mention competitions. And so but in the pet dog world, Tyler Muto started Consider the Dog. Sarah Brewski starting her very popular Facebook page, that you join and stuff like that. And she does seminar, and they kind of mix it up with all kinds of different people. So I guess my question to you is, do you think that that's a good thing that we should be doing? Should we be looking to do more of that? Get trainers together to all talk and get together,
collaborate and train.
Right, and see what works and see what doesn't.
Listen, one of the best weekends I've ever had in dog training was, I don't know, around probably 11, 12 years ago. Myself and a bunch of dog trainers met down in Atlanta to train dogs all weekend and sit around and bullshit and talk dog training and talk business. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing because everyone had something to contribute, and you learn from everybody. There's so much to learn. The best dog trainers out there, there's a lot of old-time dog trainers that have been doing this forever. The ones that have continued to evolve and learn with the times, because dog training today is better than it's ever been in a nutshell for the most part.
Right.
Okay. There's less compulsion and more compassion for the animal while producing better looking animals. Right. The trainers that have been doing this and come up through the old school where things were real rough but continue to evolve, they're some of the best dog trainers in the world. The trainers that refuse to evolve and are still using things that were being done 20, 30, 40 years ago, they're not going, they can't make it.
They'll naturally die out.
Absolutely, because the dogs don't lie. Look at a Schutzen competition from 1980 and look at a Schutzen competition today. Back then, the dogs were like this. Oh my God!
With their forced retrieves,
boom, boom, like just full of life. And
it's like watching the Olympics. It's like watching the Olympics. It's like training styles are different now.
Yeah, because it's like everything. Science is better. Athletics. I'm watching 5'10" white kids do these windmills with their arm going through their rim, with their head above the rim.
Yeah, I've seen that.
What the hell is going on today?
I've seen that.
That didn't happen 20 years ago.
It's the Red Bull. It's Red Bull.
You know what I mean? Listen, I was 5'10" and 15 years old when I first dunked a basketball, and that was a big thing. People were like, "This white kid could dunk a basketball."
You can dunk on a 10-foot rim. That's amazing. I get super close.
Today, there's kids jumping through the friggin' rim.
I've seen that, and I'm always amazed. It looks so beautiful to me when they have time to jump and do this with their legs in the air while they're just like, boo.
But the point is, where athletics are going, it's insane. But it's the same thing with dog training. You look at some of these people, the things they're doing with these dogs, and there's some really good young dog trainers out there that are just so talented, and I love to watch it. And I'll support anyone that's doing right by the animal and producing beautiful work like that.
Can I ask you a question, Larry, that you may not know the answer to, and if you don't, it's fine, but I just want some advice. So somebody who's been doing this as long as you, somebody who's met as many trainers as you, how do we, Brent and I, as a podcast, how do we go about getting more trainers who train differently than us on? Sarah Brewski is the only R+ trainer that we've had on, and it's not for lack of trying. We've reached out to all kinds of pure positive trainers, and they just don't. And we want them on. I don't know if it's because they assume we're going to attack them, which we're not, or whatever. But is there a way to just let them know, listen, we just want to talk. We just want to make dog training better.
Yeah, just keep putting stuff out and keep growing your channel. They'll want to come on then. But you just have to just keep reaching out. I'm not good like that too. I don't like asking people to come on I'm just awful. Normally it's people that are submitted by someone else, because I hate bothering people and asking people to do that. I'm just not comfortable doing it. Listen, what's the worst thing that could happen? They say no. I did it one time. I wanted to do something with someone, and I think I probably had several whiskeys, and I sent them an email, and they said no. I was like, "Fuck, this sucks." but I survived. It wasn't the end of the world. And on all kidding aside, guys, you guys are fantastic at what you do. Like you guys are really good at this, you know? And I just think you got to just keep asking, because especially when someone has something to promote, something to sell.
Exactly.
They're, you know, they want to get out there and do it. And,
Right.
you know, they're not using their head if they're not, because the more exposure they can get, because listen, some of the best dog trainers in the world are real popular in the dog training world, but that's not where the numbers are. The numbers are in the average pet dog owner across the world, especially in the United States. And those are the people you have to reach out to.
Yeah.
You know, that's the segment that you have to grab.
Yeah.
And that's why if you're going to have success in changing the dog training world, it's not trying to change dog trainers. You have to educate the general population. If we can educate the general population,
they'll seek out better trainers.
That's what stops that vicious cycle. Now they know what to look for. Yeah. Because to an average dog owner, they trust any dog trainer they talk to until it's too late.
Right.
True.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's where we got to focus on.
Yeah. And it's funny because the market is controlled, at least from the consumer level. It's controlled by marketing. So it's controlled by the verbiage, the rhetoric. It's controlled by the deals. It's controlled by all that stuff. And if we can educate dog owners at a higher level to be smarter, to ask the right questions, to know what they're looking for, then it's easier for now dog trainers to step up to the plate and rise to the occasion.
Right.
Sure. And it's why the force-free world is so much bigger than, you know, the non-force-free world, because it sounds
pretty. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you show shock collars and prong collars to the general public, and then you show clickers and, you know, Christie cookies to dogs, they're going to be like, I want to go with that.
I want that.
Right.
And that's where the masses are. That's where the numbers are, you know, and as dog trainers, we're all failing at changing that. We really are.